This video is brought to you by Squarespace. Whether it's a New Year's resolution or a lifelong passion, start your journey to website glory with Squarespace. Check out their wonderful little one platform through the link in the description below. More on them in a bit. Deep beneath the al-Qura Mosque in Baghdad, locked away in a secret vault, is an object that can only be described as a theological paradox. An object so blasphemous, Islamic law dictates it must be destroyed, but so inherently holy that it can't be. This is the Blood Quran, a copy of the Islamic holy book written entirely in the blood of former Iraqi dictator Saddam Hussein. The Blood Quran was commissioned by Saddam on April 28, 1998, on the occasion of his 61st birthday. The dictator had recently re-embraced his Islamic faith after his son Uday Hussein narrowly survived an assassination attempt on December 12, 1996. In an official letter published in 2000, Saddam explained that the book was intended as thanks to God for bringing him safely through many conspiracies and dangers throughout his long political career, stating, "My life has been full of dangers in which I should have lost a lot of blood, but since I have bled only a little, I asked somebody to write God's words with my blood in gratitude." To write the book, Saddam commissioned calligrapher Abbas Shakir Judi al-Baghdadi. Over the next 2 years, a nurse drew a total of 27 liters of Saddam's blood and delivered it to al-Baghdadi, who, after treating it with chemicals to stabilize it, used the liquid to write out the 114 chapters and 6,000 verses of the Islamic holy book. Completed in 2000, the finished book runs 605 pages and is written in lettering 2 centimeters in height, with borders decorated in intricate blue, red, and black designs. The pages, mounted in gold-edged frames, were displayed in a dedicated pavilion in the heart of Baghdad's al-Ma'arik, or Mother of All Battles Mosque. The mosque, begun around the same time as the Blood Quran and completed in 2001, was built by Saddam to celebrate his supposed victory over coalition forces in the 1990 to 1991 Gulf War, and features minarets designed to resemble Scud ballistic missiles and the barrels of Kalashnikov rifles. The pavilion housing the Quran pages was largely kept locked and only opened for special guests of Saddam. Right from the start, the Blood Quran set off storms of controversy among Islamic clerics. According to Islamic law, or Sharia, human blood is considered najis, or ritually unclean, and anything it touches is also rendered unclean. To write a Quran, the holy word of God in blood, is therefore especially forbidden or haram. Abbas al-Baghdadi, the book's creator, was well aware of this, but could not refuse for fear of reprisals by the Saddam regime. In an interview in 2003, al-Baghdadi, who now lives in the US state of Virginia, stated, "I don't like to talk about this now. It was a painful part of my life that I want to forget about." Controversy also surrounds the total amount of blood Saddam contributed to the project and how much was actually used to write the book. In most parts of the world, the maximum amount of blood a person is allowed to donate in a year is between 5 and 6 units, or around 3 liters. At this rate, it would have taken Saddam nearly 9 years to donate 27 liters rather than only 2. This has led some to speculate that the blood came not from Saddam, but from an underling, or even from political prisoners. However, as the few eyewitness accounts of the actual process are wildly conflicting, this is a question that is unlikely to ever be answered. The Blood Quran remained on display until April 2003, when US forces captured Baghdad. As fighting enveloped the city, the mosque's caretakers removed the book from its pavilion and hid it away for safekeeping. Among them was Sheikh Samarai, who even hid pages in his own house. Samarai now serves as one of the primary caretakers of the Blood Quran, which is kept hidden away in a vault beneath the mosque, now renamed al-Qura, or Mother of All Cities, behind 3 sets of locked doors. As Samarai explained in 2010, "I knew this would be much sought after, and we made the decision to protect it. But to see this now is not easy. There are 3 keys, and none of them are held in the one place. I have one, the police chief in the area has another, and there is a third in another part of Baghdad. There has to be a decision of a committee to let you in." The Blood Quran is almost never shown to visitors, kept out of sight as clerics and politicians debate just what to do with it. While the method of its creation makes it unclean and blasphemous, the Blood Quran is nonetheless a Quran, and thus, according to Islamic tradition, cannot be defaced or destroyed. The book thus presents a serious theological quandary for Iraq. As Abdul Qahar al-Ani, professor of Islamic thought at Baghdad University, explains, Saddam is not a holy man, so his blood is dirty. But some of the scholars say it is okay because in one of his battles, Muhammad's warriors gave thanks for victory with the blood of the enemy on their clothes. I don't accept this. Such a book has never been written in the time since the Prophet, so why should Saddam do it? But there are no guidelines. Who among the scholars since would have thought it necessary to write rules for such a thing? But the Blood Quran is controversial not only theologically but politically as well, with many members of Iraq's current government fearing that it and other relics of the Saddam era could serve as rallying points for the Ba'ath Party revivalists and should therefore be destroyed. In the words of Ahmed Kalabi, former head of the National De-Ba'athification Commission, the best talent in Iraq was ordered to produce monuments which are designed to suppress the people. This is very destructive for the psyche of the Iraqi population. This is a clear reminder of the consequences of totalitarianism and idealizing a person that embodies evil. They have brought nothing to Iraq. They are not worth celebrating. They have nothing aesthetic to offer. I am for removing them. Others are not so certain, including Muaffaq al-Rubaid, the former national security advisor who escorted Saddam to his execution in 2006. He was there, and he ruled, and he impacted on the world. But he was a part of our history. He was a bad part of our history, but he made a huge difference whether we liked it or not. We need not bury the legacy of that period. We need to remember it, all what is bad and what is good, and learn lessons. And the most important lesson is that dictatorship should not return to Iraq. Further complicating the issue is the burning down of the National Library and Archives in April, which destroyed huge swaths of Iraq's artistic and literary heritage and left the Blood Quran as one of the few remaining examples of native Islamic calligraphy. Sheikh Samara, the book's caretaker, is rather more equivocal. It says a lot about Saddam. It should never be put in a museum, though, because no Iraqi wants to see it. Maybe in the future it could be sent to a private museum, like memorabilia from the Hitler and Stalin regimes. In the meantime, as the debate rages on, the Blood Quran remains hidden away behind its 3 locked doors, one of the most confusing and frustrating relics in the Islamic world, and among the strangest and most long-lived legacies of Saddam Hussein's 24-year rule over Iraq. And if you're looking for a website domain that's neither confusing nor frustrating, you got to start today with our friends at Squarespace. Look, the new year is getting closer and closer, so whatever you're thinking that New Year's resolution might be, maybe it's starting a website, and it's time to start that website with Squarespace. Squarespace is the platform to use if you want to get started on that web project you're thinking about. Maybe you're looking to get in and out quick without thinking too much about what your website should look like. Bam! Use one of their quick and beautiful templates to make a website that's fresh and for you, just right out of the box. Or maybe you're more of a hands-on person. You've got lots of opinions and ideas about what exactly your site should look like. Well, Squarespace gives you all the customization options you could ever want with no updates, no patches, and no technical BS to worry about. And once you're done setting up your website, tinkering with the design if you're so inclined, or maybe just playing around with the colors, there are so many extra features that Squarespace provides so that your website can thrive. Email campaigns, social integrations, members-only areas, analytics, commercial options, 24/7 customer support. It's everything you could ever want in one place. And look, this isn't just another advertiser partnership for me. When I launched our website for mega projects, another channel I do earlier this year, I went to Squarespace and I used their platform to create an elegant and super functional website. Very easy, nothing to it. So when you're ready to get started on that new project of yours, big or small, if it involves a website, it's got to be Squarespace. Right now, you can go to squarespace.com for a free trial. And when you're ready to begin, go to squarespace.com/brainfood to save 10% off your first purchase of a website or domain. And let's get into some bonus facts. While we're on the subject of Saddam, in 1980 America, the Cold War was still very much hot. Ronald Reagan was elected president, and the United States Olympic hockey team shockingly upset the USSR in what would be dubbed the Miracle on Ice. Oh, and the new president of Iraq, Saddam Hussein, was given a key to the city of Detroit. So how did this come to pass? Honoring an individual with a key to the city is actually a more tangible variation of another practice known as freedom of the city, or if conferred onto the military, freedom of entry. More commonly called this in Europe, the practice traces back to ancient Rome, and their honoring of the sacred boundary known as the Pomerium. The Pomerium, Latin meaning behind the wall, was the open space just inside of the city's old walls. This space was dedicated to the gods as gratitude for protection. Besides the religious significance, the authority of a Roman general was only valid outside the Pomerium and not within the city's walls. No military affairs were allowed beyond the Pomerium. In fact, any soldier or general who crossed that line lost all military power and became simple civilians. The only exception was during victory celebrations, in which generals and soldiers entered the city in honor to celebrate their success in battle. In other words, they had freedom of the city. It was in medieval Europe when physical keys started being used around the 6th or 7th century. When a monarch or ruler came upon a city or town, the leaders would greet him and hold a celebration in his honor, with dancing, food, and lots of wine. They would then present him with a real key to the city's gate, allowing this ruler unlimited access. There was also a related custom of giving such keys to certain respected merchants and tradesmen who could enter the city without needing to pay a tax or toll. It seems that the first time such an honor was given in the United States was in New York City on June 27, 1702. Mayor Philip French, mayor of New York City for only 1 year, gave the Viscount Cornbury Edward Hyde, the British governor of New York and considered the most powerful man in the colonies, freedom of the city. Additionally, Mayor French declared that all those in the city who were too poor to purchase their own freedoms were given freedom of the city gratis for the day. So that's how the custom of giving a key to the city started and how it made its way to the United States. So why was Saddam Hussein given such an honor by the city of Detroit? Hussein became president of Iraq on July 16, 1979. 6 days later, he ordered the execution of 21 Iraqi government officials, including 5 ministers, who were accused of being traitors. Hussein was technically a Sunni Muslim, though religion doesn't exactly seem to have truly been a huge part of his belief system, later blood Quran or not. What Hussein did value was loyalty and political support. So when Reverend Jacob Yasser of the Chaldean Sacred Heart in Detroit, Michigan, publicly congratulated Hussein on his rise to power, the compliment didn't go unnoticed. Jacob Yasser was born in Tel Keif, Iraq, and after high school was recruited to Rome, where he completed his master's degree in philosophy and theology. In 1960, he was ordained a priest in the Chaldean Catholic Church. Chaldean Catholics are Catholics whose ethnicity stems from the ancient area of Mesopotamia, more specifically northern Iraq, southeast Turkey, Syria, and northwest Iran. In 1964, he was appointed to serve the growing Chaldean community in Detroit. In response to Yasser's congratulations, Saddam sent the church $250,000. This came as a surprise to Yasser, considering this regime had actually criticized Yasser for questioning their nationalization of Iraqi schools. According to an interview Yasser gave in 2003 with the AP, Saddam Hussein was making donations to Chaldean churches across the world at that time, so giving money to his church wasn't necessarily out of the ordinary for Iraq's president. Plus, Detroit had the largest Chaldean population in the United States, who predominantly supported the rise of Hussein in Iraq. Yasser and Hussein kept in touch, and about a year later in 1980, along with about 25 people from the Detroit Chaldean community, he was a guest of the Iraqi government and arrived in Baghdad. Then he was led into Saddam's palace. In the same interview, Yasser states, "We were received on the red carpet. At some point during the celebration, Yasser presented Saddam Hussein a gift from the then mayor of Detroit, Coleman Young, a key to the city, which of course at this point in the practice of giving keys out didn't unlock anything but was merely a symbolic honor. This act of honoring a man today generally thought of as having been a ruthless tyrant didn't happen in a vacuum. In the late 1970s, the United States employed the well-known philosophy of an enemy of our enemy is our friend. Saddam Hussein's Iraq was engaged in a war against Iran. Considering the US's own issues with Iran, the State Department very much supported Iraq in the war. In fact, there is some evidence that the State Department actually encouraged Detroit Mayor Coleman Young to ask Reverend Yasser to present a key to the city of Detroit to Hussein. In Baghdad, Saddam graciously accepted the honor and asked Yasser, "I heard there was a debt on your church. How much is it?" Yasser said there was approximately a debt for $170,000. Saddam gave him a check for $200,000, enough to pay the debt and build a new recreation hall. In the 2003 interview, Yasser went on to say that Saddam was an American puppet, and once the US government didn't need him anymore, he was no good. However, he did admit that while Saddam Hussein may have been a good person at some point, to quote him, "Money and power changed the person." So I really hope you found that video interesting. If you did, please do hit that thumbs up button below. Don't forget to subscribe. Brand new videos every day of the week. Also, please do check out our fantastic sponsor, Squarespace. Link below. And thank you for watching.